Mario Kart World has a major issue that needs discussing. From lack of content to a massive conspiracy theory we'll talk about later, this world of Mario Kart hardly feels like a world at all. Look, I know y'all are having fun with the Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart World, but we need to address this elephant in the room. The open world kinda sucks. Whether this is a hot take or not, I'm making a video on it now because I played an extensive amount of Mario Kart World at this point and realized that there's just kinda no point into having a world this big. Let's start at the beginning. Mario Kart World was first shown off in the official reveal for the Nintendo Switch 2. Okay, saying it was shown off is quite of a stretch as it was only 5 seconds of gameplay, but we got a good taste of what the first new Mario Kart was like in over 10 years. Oh wow, the new art style looks great. Oh, those roads look huge. How many players are on the track? And that was pretty much all we got for a few months until the official reveal came at the start of the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd. After months of waiting, we finally got to see what this game was all about. The trailer showed off everything fans were expecting and then some for a brand new entry in the Mario Kart series. It started with a quick 1.5 minute trailer just giving us a glimpse of everything to come. New tracks, new art style, new power-ups, new mechanics, new characters, new costumes, and then the title reveals Mario Kart World. The trailer went on to pretty much outline and discuss everything that you saw in the sizzle reel while also revealing new modes and mentioning the game's very obvious selling point: you can drive pretty much anywhere and everywhere. And from the get-go, I really didn't know how to feel about the game being open world. I'm sure a lot of people shared the same sentiment. Will the level design be taking a hit in favor of making them all interact and connect with each other? Is there even a point to the game being open world? Keep watching as I discuss at the end of the video with a very huge conspiracy theory on why this open world feels lackluster. Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. I actually went on and played some of the game at the Switch 2 experience in New York about 2 days later after the Direct to see for myself, and I had some fun with it. I mostly wanted to get a taste for the open world, but they didn't actually show that off at the event, and it was mostly about the Grand Prix and Knockout Tour, which were very fun. But Nintendo was hiding something. What was it about the open world that they didn't want to show off there? Well, the game is here, and now we know. It sucks. Okay, let me reiterate by saying that I do really like Mario Kart World as a whole. Dare I say, I love it. But I just gotta rip the band-aid off now, as this is something that's been bugging me since I ripped open the game and popped it into my Switch. So I know what you're probably thinking. The open world can't be that bad, right? I mean, the entire selling point of Mario Kart World is the open world, so of course Nintendo would take the time to make it as great as it can be. It feels more like an afterthought, if anything. My first reason is that the level design is just not good whatsoever. It sucks butt. Well, outside of the main tracks, I mean. When playing the game for the first time, you'll notice a significant dip in the quality of the track design when going from a main track to the highway, as I'll call it, and it sticks out like a sore thumb. A good example would be Mario Bros. Circuit. When racing in that area, you have so many fun rail grinding and shortcut opportunities. It's a great first level, and then you leave the area and you're immediately greeted with nothing but a long and straight road. Do you see the issue here? And it's not just this one example either. You're gonna find design like this dotted around the entire map. One of the most egregious examples would be the bridge that runs across the entire lower edge of the map so you wouldn't have to ride in water the whole time. But riding the waves seems like a better option, even though it literally isn't, because this damned bridge is just a casual straight line across a long stretch of nothing. And I guess that you could make the argument that the level design comes from the cars coming after you and the chaos that can ensue when you're amongst the classic and iconic Mario Kart mosh pit, but that's not level design. That's outside factors leading into what makes Mario Kart fun. Stretches like these feel way too long to be warranted. I get that a large bridge needs to be here to connect the land together, but did it need to be this long with no design whatsoever? Traffic is not a level design. I deal with traffic every day. This isn't fun. I also feel like this taps into another smaller issue the game has, and that's the game's lack of 200cc. Due to how wide and long these roads are, even in regular tracks, the game can feel very slow at times, and it feels like you're hardly making any progress through the areas, which, mind you, is lame. But I think this game was practically made with 200cc in mind. I think the straightaways would feel a lot less boring and more fun if the game was much faster. That way, the added speed mixed with the average chaos could theoretically make up for the lack of level design in the areas. I just don't get why there couldn't be some added level design to make the game more interesting. I understand that they have to make some of the areas accessible from all angles so you can actually drive everywhere like the game intends, but Donkey Kong Spaceport is mostly a level of straightaways, and that level had fun hazards and things to do. You know, walls to run on and such. What was stopping Nintendo from just making levels in between the levels? They didn't even make the majority of these areas interesting. When me and the boys were playing Knockout Tour, which is a very fun mode by the way, we kept trying to avoid the cups that had a lot of straightaways in water since most of the water areas were completely straight. It's just a shame because there are a lot of new tracks in Mario Kart World that I find so much fun to go through. Starview Peak, Acorn Heights, Mario Bros. Circuit, so it does feel weird going from a great track to a mediocre highway section only to do one lap of an actually fun level, and by the time it's over, I just wanted to do more laps of the fun level. It's to the point where I hardly go back to the Grand Prix and only do versus races because I can actually do 3 laps at a time over there. I mean, I usually do that in Mario Kart anyway, but this is actually for a very different and negative reason. When you have roads that span this long with no real action taking place in them, surely Nintendo added some great content to keep us occupied in the meantime to make exploring this world fun, right? Right? Along with the roads not having much to do in them, the areas beyond the roads also suck pretty hard. Traffic stays pretty limited to just the roads themselves, as you'll see cars and other racers pass through them, but there is a very sad amount of dead space amongst everything in between. Now, of course, I'm not really expecting the entire map to be stuffed to the gills with content, that's always blowing my mind, but for $80, shit, Daisy better come out of that screen and give me some hit. I just don't like the fact that there's hardly anything to do beyond the tracks. It's fun in some areas, as it feels like I'm going out of bounds by seeing the tops or bottoms of certain areas that have a lot of elevation, but it doesn't extend very far beyond that. The game is very pretty and worth a lap around when playing for the first time, but beyond these roads, there isn't a single interesting landmark or point of interest to go. I think it would have been really cool to add some hidden one-off retro tracks that you can only unlock by exploring the world, stuff that you could see in the background of the races in the Grand Prix. With a suggestion like that, you'd probably think the map size would need to be increased a bunch to fit all these new tracks in. I was thinking maybe 2 cups worth of tracks could have been discoverable in the open world, but honestly, it just requires some reworking. I feel something like this can only improve the game. You wouldn't need to make the map bigger, just scrunch some of the interconnecting roads down a bit, giving them tighter and more fleshed out level design, which could also give more room to being able to take more than one lap of a course in the Grand Prix. And not only that, it gives a proper incentive to explore the open world in hopes of finding some cool secrets along the way that yield pretty big rewards being an entire track. Maybe they could dot around hidden locations where you can unlock carts in the open world. They're only unlockable through collecting coins, which seems like a huge missed opportunity. You unlock carts in every other Mario Kart game the exact same way, so it feels like there isn't a very good reason to keep it the same here considering how much potential this world holds. Potential that wasn't squandered, but potential that wasn't realized due to something relating to the conspiracy we'll talk about at the end of this video. All of this stuff feels like it should have been in the game from day one. But fret not, despite the world being empty, we do have some content that the game holds that is exclusive to the open world. And it still sucks. Come on, Nintendo. Nintendo discussed it further in the initial Mario Kart World Direct, but there are many different things you can do while exploring the open world. And by many, I mean 3. The content that Nintendo threw in dotted all across the map genuinely feels like last-minute additions to me, as beyond these 3 things I'm gonna talk about, there is quite literally nothing that the open world offers to the player to keep them there playing for hours on end. Like I said, these are 3 different things that you can do all around the map. Number 1, the Peach medallions, or Pauline medallions, I don't know. I don't even think I have any footage of these because these medallions are arguably the most meaningless additions imaginable. This is by far the free roam exclusive item that I see the least throughout the map. I see it here and there, but every time I see one, I'm hardly incentivized to go and grab it. Sure, it adds to the counter at the bottom of the map screen, but they add nothing to the overall experience other than being a meaningless collectible for the sake of being a meaningless collectible. They're no better than your average Korok from Breath of the Wild. These medallions grant you a sticker upon collecting them, which is a very whatever reward. I don't mess around with the stickers that much, so I feel even less incentivized to collect them knowing my reward is going to be the exact same item each time. A reward that adds absolutely nothing to the game. At least with a Korok seed I could upgrade my inventory. The second item you find throughout the map are question block panels. They are the exact same as the medallions, except they look different, I guess. Medallions usually have you climb up to some elevated place to collect them, but you'll mostly find the panels hanging out on their own in some random location. These are also somewhat rare to find. You'll actually have to go looking for them if you want to go get them, which is worth something, I guess. You know, except that it's not, because I meant it when I said that these panels are the exact same as the medallions because you're rewarded with another damn sticker when you press them. The third and final thing you can do in the open world is something akin to the mission mode from Mario Kart DS. These are definitely the most common things you'll find across the open world, as they're just kind of hanging out for you to spot on your casual drive. Could you possibly guess what the reward is? I would say that this is a cool addition, and it definitely is the best thing thing you can do in the open world, but that literally is just because it gives you something to do, even if it is over in 10 seconds on average. The bar must be sent down to the depths of hell because these also just kinda suck. I say that with a little bit of an asterisk because it's not all that bad, nor do I think it's a bad concept on paper, but it all blends together and feels like a waste of time at a certain point. I don't know how many of these things are all across the map, but I've done about 50 of them and I feel like I've gotten my fill. This is another Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom situation. Similar to the shrines in Breath of the Wild, the P-switches in Mario Kart are bite-sized missions that take advantage of some of the moves that you have. And just when it feels like it's getting fun, it's over. Except Mario Kart World is arguably worse off in this case because these missions last for 20 seconds if you're lucky. And it all just feels like a punch to the gut when you're set and done with them, as the prize for your efforts is yet again another meaningless sticker. The stickers are good for placing them on your carts, I guess, and that's the only use I found them good for. Sometimes it's hardly visible depending on the cart too, and it's never something I care about when picking out my cart. They don't change your stats nor do anything besides be there and exist. They somehow made the Koroks even more lame. Nintendo, you're outdoing yourself in the wrong way, stop that. At the end of the day, they're little distractions from driving around the map, and they're good in that regard, I guess, but when I said they blend together after a little while, that's because almost all the missions are the exact same. Where Breath of the Wild had unique shrines with new puzzles every time, here in Mario Kart World, it's almost always getting to the goal in time, collect the blue coins in time, pass the rings to get to the goal in time, dodge obstacles to get to the goal in time, kill whoever thought this was a good idea in time. It's all so samey. In a world full of possibilities, this is what they gave us, and it just feels like so much fun and interesting potential has been wasted. When I presented those ideas earlier about finding some retro tracks out in the wild or unlocking carts through some missions, that was just stuff I came up with on the spot as I was writing this video. I literally have notes that outlined what I wanted to write about, and those ideas were nowhere in my notes. Which finally brings me to my little tinfoil crackhead conspiracy on why the open world is the way that it is. That's because this game probably wasn't meant to even be open world. I feel like the initial idea for Mario Kart World came about with the idea simply of interconnecting the races together, and that was all. To be able to drive from one track to the next, and that's about as far as the idea went for a while until the decision was made to expand everything into one conjoined map. The open world is very cool on paper, but by the time the open world was done, the developers just may have not known what to do with it beyond that. Like, okay, all the tracks are connected to one another, that's a wrap. Being able to drive wherever is a cool concept, but feels incredibly boring when there's absolutely nothing done with it. If you're doing an open world, a lot of the fun mostly comes from the discovery of new content through exploring yourself. So tying absolutely none of the content behind discovery except the stickers feels like such a missed opportunity. Imagine the feeling you could have gotten by discovering a classic and iconic track randomly out in the open world just from driving around in it, or discovering a new character or card, doing side missions that yielded real rewards instead of just giving out stickers. The closest we have to something like this is the character costume mechanic, where you can unlock special costumes for a character by eating food from a specific area. Why couldn't we have more of that? I know all of this criticism and negativity can seem like I hate Mario Kart World, and I want to state that that's just not the case one bit. In fact, outside of this empty and mediocre open world, I absolutely love this game top to bottom. I don't know if this is the recency bias talking or not, but I haven't found a single thing I don't like about this game outside of the open world, and the inclusion of Moo Moo Meadows, but that's not the point. Mario Kart World is a fantastic game, and I think this game is on par with Mario Kart 8 and surpasses it in a lot of ways. Knockout Tour is absolutely fantastic. The track design is still fun, the art style and game as a whole is drop dead gorgeous. The soundtrack just might be the best soundtrack in Mario history. I'm not kidding. Some of these remixes absolutely blew me away. I've even heard remixes from Wario Land and WarioWare, which is just so awesome. And in all honesty, to give credit where it's due, the open world has one pretty great use. Getting online and messing around with your friends is some of the most fun I've had in Mario Kart, period. Being able to hop online with a ton of buddies and mess around in the open world, race each other in Knockout Tour, and take pictures with each other, it just has a certain magic to it that I haven't experienced in any game in a very, very long time. This game is bringing people together, and I don't think this game is going to die out anytime soon. It is just sad seeing the open world stick out like the worst sore thumb you've ever seen, but I only feel this passionate about this because, well, one, it's the selling point of the game, you know, the entire $80 package, and two, everything else in the game absolutely knocks it out of the park. But with everything said, I hope you guys do know that I love Mario Kart World at the end of the day. If you want to see me make a full review on the game, let me know in the comments below. I'm also planning on releasing a video reviewing every mainline Mario game by the end of the year, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. Like and subscribe, you all know the drill. My name is Dylonic, and I will see you all in the next video. Take it easy and stay fresh.